The Guns on Pegs podcast is brought to you by iTap Group. Hello and welcome to the Guns on Pegs podcast. It's George Brown in a wet and blustery Hampshire.
It's Avian in an equally wet and miserable Cornwall.
It's Jake in Suffolk that is wet and blustery.
And it's Sam in sunny... No, it's wet and blustery down here in Devon as well, to be fair.
I think it's countrywide today, everybody, isn't it?
It is.
Storm Amy.
Doesn't sound a very threatening storm, does it?
Well, Amy?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I know a couple of Amy's when they get going there. Yeah, no.
I've known a few fierce Amy's over the years, yeah.
Right, boys, let's get going. Sam, what's in your glass today? What's that you're drinking?
Well, last time we recorded, I was on supermarket lager with the optimism to have something better. But today I am on supermarket lager.
Yeah.
Very good.
I have got a tin of Budweiser, and if this Budweiser runs out, I've got another tin of Budweiser. So we are really pushing it out.
I wouldn't normally judge someone for their choice of supermarket lager, but I'm sorry, Budweiser is really scraping the barrel.
What I was gonna do, or my plan, was to make a Slivovitz cocktail because of the fact that what we might come on to later, that me and Avian possibly drank some Slivovitz. George, you've had it before.
I have.
It's
powerful.
Good for cleaning paintbrushes, I think. And I actually avoided buying any on the way back, and then thought to myself, oh, it might be nice to make a cocktail with it. So I've got some cocktail recipes, but I can't buy Slivovitz anywhere. So I stopped in the shop on the way back earlier and picked up some Budweisers.
Is that a Geneva Convention thing that they can't send it overseas, or you just...
Yeah, I think it's technically...
You're not allowed to travel with it, I don't think. It's dangerous.
I think it's technically a war crime.
Quite possibly. Yeah. Well, I think if you... we may come onto it later, Sam, but clearly if you are going to make a cocktail with one of the wonderful spirit drinks from the Czech Republic, you'd have to call it, I don't know, something like Room Key.
Thank you, Avian.
That's like a personal joke. There is a story there, I'm sure.
Right, well, Avian, since you're giving it out large, what have you got? What's that you're drinking?
Well, I'm inspired by Sam, a story that... But hopefully we'll talk a bit about the Czech trip in a moment. But I haven't belly laughed so much in a long, long time. We had an absolutely fantastic time. And there was one little offhand story Sam
I think
told,
I know what this is going to be.
that I paraphrase, and if the details aren't there, the spirit of the story is rather eccentric lady of Sam's acquaintance enjoys a gin and tonic. So she pours a very large gin and then uses a Gordon's pre-mixed gin and tonic instead of the tonic. So I'm having a gin and tonic gin.
Mm-hmm. Is it gin and
tonic? So I'm going to try this. This sounds like G&T turbocharged. It made me howl with laughter. So thank you, Sam. Cheers all.
Cheers.
Very good. Jake, how about you? What have you got?
So I've got a hot wine, lads, because I've got man flu at the moment. And yeah, it's that time of year again when both my children are walking petri dishes, and
you've got the summer crop.
And equally, I have been in London rubbing shoulders and touching eyeballs with about 30,000 people last Sunday, and then previous to that, I've been into France, and as we know, the French, they love to spread their germs to us, and so yeah, I'm struggling with a bit of man flu that's brought in from Europe. So I've currently. I was driving home from work, and you'll have to excuse me because I'm not feeling that great. And then I thought, I don't like whiskey. I can't have a hot toddy. Well, I've got a glass of wine sat in a bottle, and so I'm going to have some of that, put some slow gin in there as well, stick it in the microwave, and kill or cure, lad. So, yeah.
Oh, dear God. George,
George,
please rescue us. We are sounding very,
Budweiser,
very pedestrian here. Budweiser, gin and tonic in a can. And microwave wine in the microwave. Please say you've got something at least presentable to
I'm not
audience.
sure which of I'm genuinely not sure which bit of that was more horrifying. The fact that he's microwaved it or the fact that he's put slow gin in his red wine.
And he's drinking it out of a tea mug. It just doesn't get better in any way, shape, or
I
form.
can assure you,
Jesus.
lads, I'm shivering and sweating, so you can understand
I mean, I'm not surprised.
my absolute CBAs right now are just whatever. I just need some alcohol.
George, rescue us.
Crikey. Well, I'm pleased to say that one of us is maintaining standards because I have made myself an old-fashioned
Oh,
Well done.
very well done.
with actual American whiskey in it as well. And it's very nice. It's lovely. It's nice and refreshing. It's got a few orange bitters in it. I even shaved an orange for the peel. So I've pushed the boat out.
Very
And it
good.
sounds like it's news that I did.
Are you having it? Are you having it rocks or up?
Rocks.
Good man.
George, have you had the smoker units? My Instagram has recently shown that you make an old fashioned with some oak and cherry bark that you flame over the top, and the smoke draws down into the glass. Have you seen those? You're saying, so you haven't got one, but
I have not seen them. I mean, I'm familiar with the concept of smoking cocktails and stuff. I've seen it happen.
sure.
But I didn't know. But I wasn't aware that you could buy the gear
Yeah,
for it.
you
But,
can, and
that
then
sounds like fun.
they use that Woodford Reserve, that American whiskey and what have you. So I was expecting you to say that's what you've done there. So
Well, it's
there we go.
funnily enough, I do have a bottle of Woodford Reserve, but this is. I'm just going to grab the bottle. Hang on.
Because I think, going back to the spreadsheet, I think the Woodford Reserve has been tried before without much joy, hasn't it?
It has. This is Hudson Whiskey New York. Bright Lights Big Bourbon, it says. It looks quite medicinal.
I've had that in one of the Whiskey Exchange little bourbon and rye taster boxes.
That's good.
Oh, yeah.
So is that a
It's
rye
bloody
whiskey or not?
That's a bourbon.
Yes, it's a bourbon. It's one that my brother brought it back from me when my wife and I had his daughter when he and his wife went to New York for his brother-in-law's wedding. And I hadn't opened it until today. And that was probably a year ago now. But yeah, very nice drink. And actually, just on drinks-related news, I've been making labels for slow gin and what have you, which has been fun. And I wish I had it up in front of me. I've created there's the sort of marketing speak that you get on a label that says, crafted with precision and
You mean
love
the
and care
story?
and sunshine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've done my own story.
Come on.
Which well, I don't want to get it wrong, but let's just say it's a send up of the more traditional marketing speak.
Get it.
It doesn't say made with George's love, does it?
If anything, it says the opposite.
Yeah, okay.
It starts crafted with a cavalier disregard for recipes, measurements, or I can't remember the rest. But
Triple distilled because we got it wrong the first two times.
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Yes.
Excellent.
Good. Right. So, Avian, Sam, tell us a bit about your trip to Czech Republic.
I don't know. I can't remember it.
hence the rune key.
It was absolutely brilliant.
We saw on Guns on Pegs Christmas last year, I think, wasn't it, originally?
Yeah.
And we'd kicked it around as an idea. It was one of the original shoot ideas for the Grand's Day Out.
It was.
And we were all talking about it. And we said, actually, this looks like bloody good value. So it's down in southern Bohemia, just off the Austrian border. And I think it was it 1,400 euros for 10 guns, 500 duck?
Yeah.
500.
And after much toing and froing, we all arrived at airports various middle of last week or week before. God, the weeks are going by so quickly.
Yeah.
And off we went to Prague. We got collected in some very nice Mercedes Vito vans and driven through the night to this old brewery down in Bohemia. And the next day we were met by a fantastic team and we went out and we shot a few more than 500 ducks, didn't we, Sam?
Yeah, I did. My overages weren't too bad, but I know there were some on the party who got a bit excited. It was pretty worrying when I was nearly at my quota after the first drive. You think, oh shit, this is pricey.
Get in, Samuel.
But I mean, the guys who put it together, it was really, really well done. It's very relaxed, nothing too formal. So the first drive we went out with, because in the area down there, right back to the 1300s, they've dug these, I mean, thousands and thousands of hectares of these man-made shallow ponds. They're only about 3-4 foot deep, but there are thousands of hectares of them, and they're all fish ponds, so fish stock ponds. They breed carp in them.
Christmas carp.
Yeah, and over the years, so that they'll drain. They saying they would drain them every 5 or 6 years to take the harvest out and refill. And over the years, they've just bred, I mean, hundreds of thousands of mallard. And we saw teal and pinkfoot geese, and they obviously being a fish farming area, they shoot cormorant as well. So the first drive, we were on this little isthmus little trackway between two lakes, and they pushed them backwards and forwards. So that was quite a good sort of junior drive to get us going and get less bleary-eyed. And then second drive, we went out in...
It was a bathtub, wasn't it?
It was a bathtub, yeah. So there's 20 of us standing up, literally holding each other's underpants on this barge, all with shotguns. And the beam was about 3/4 of an inch above the waterline.
Any
Wow.
movement would have put us under, I think.
Oh, Christ. And we had shooting hero Philip with us, and he kept leaning over the side to take selfies, and the boat was rocking, and us crusty old buggers were in there going, "Don't nobody move!" And then they punted us out into the middle of this lake and deposited us on the rickety, they looked like they were made out of the ropiest old batten they could find, middle of the lake, these little pontoons.
A pallet slapped on some stilts in the middle of the lake.
On some stilts, covered in about 8 inches of goose shit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Slippery as hell.
Stand on there with your loader. You had to get very friendly with them.
And left to our own devices to try and shoot duck. But it was bloody brilliant, mate, wasn't it?
Yeah, very good. And it was nice to, the different cultural way they do it. We had a ceremony before and after, and, lunch was a bit different in the lodge, mainly by what we ate rather than anything else. But
lots of pickles, wasn't there?
Lots of pickles, lots of smoked stuff, cheese, but a great respect for the quarry.
Well, I was going to say that I've experienced that in Slovakia as well. The ceremony at the start and the end of the day is quite something, isn't it?
It really is. I think it's something I'd love to see us not copy, but try and introduce here. And what really struck me was at the end of the day, I'm sure quite a few people are familiar with this. They have the square presentation area where we all come out and welcome the game in the morning. And then at the end of the shoot, all the game is paired up and laid out extremely neatly in front of everybody, with the guns at one end, keepers and support team at the other end, and we all celebrate each other and salute the game. But I think too often you go on an organised day and the game cart, few people have a quick look at it. Have we reached the bag? What do the birds look like? And off it goes. And then we all have a glass of whatever and a chin wag. But I think to actually stand there and spend a moment just looking at the game you've taken, it was gave you a bit of pause, didn't it? So like this is what we've done. This is the harvest we've made. And I think that would be, it would be a really nice touch to try and introduce here. I mean, certainly on our little shoot, that'd be quite easy because we get an old fertilizer bag and put one pigeon on it and say thank you.
Was Simon going to learn to play the bugle and pipe it in at the end of the day and all of that as well?
But I mean, you boys have been over to me, and I like to do that. But you've seen it. How could I make it better, more? Because I love that. I watch on YouTube that European style of presenting the birds and respecting them at the end of the day. What you've seen how I do it around the fire. In a circle, try and emulate that. What are you suggesting, Ave? What could I do to make it even more spectacular?
I would suggest the way to do it is to talk to your beta picking up team and get their buy-in. Because I think, we turned up and typical English lads a bit nervous before we all went out. We'd had a few scoops the night before and everybody was a naughty schoolboy. But the minute you've got the support team standing opposite you, and this is serious, this is very important to them. A bit like school assembly, we shuffled our feet and got into line and took our hats off and took it very seriously immediately. So I think if you had your shoot team pretty much say, this is what we do, because human beings love falling into step. They hate not being part of what's going on.
Yeah.
So that's how I do it for you. But also I think, make the guns aware of it, maybe at the evening before, especially for you at branches where you major on the night before, is to say, guys, we will be making reparations to the game before we go out, and we will be presenting the game to you, and we will give a little, non-religious thanks or whatever you want to call it at the end. Small ceremony, please work with us, take it seriously.
Do well.
Yeah, I agree. Alternatively, Jake, get the old trombone out.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't think we should try and copy it exactly, but it'd be interesting people's views of how we could do it, because we don't want to, there's a lot of tradition behind the ceremony that they do, and we don't want to kind of copy it badly without the meaning behind it. So I think that shoots, if they want to do something like that, and it would be nice if they did, kind of need to come up with their own spin on it and do it their own way.
I think you make a good point there, Sam. Yeah, very good. But chaps, you've spoken about the traditions. You've spoken about the dodgy boats. I want to hear about.
Can I talk about the roads?
I mean, the roads. No. Stop. Beautiful. Exactly about what happened the night before and the night after.
There was one IPA that was incredibly delicious.
So night before, we were actually quite well behaved. Night after, we had a few beers and most people were in bed early. However, we decided we'd have a night in Prague.
Well, we didn't, did we? It's technically EasyJet's fault for not flying Wednesdays.
So we went Claire, bless her, my wife, she did a whistle-stop tour of all the things we must see in Prague, which was perfect because we didn't have to go in anywhere. We just rushed past and ticked off the dancing house and the this cathedral and the that museum and through this square.
And all that.
That over the bridge, straight to a bar. And then typical woman, she was like, well, there's another bar over here. And we're like, well, we're quite comfy here. So we went 3 or 4 bars. And then there was a downstairs bar we looked in. I think outside on the chalkboard sign, they had the legend, no good story started with a salad. So we thought, well, this has got to be worth a look in. And we went in, and I thought it was a dive bar. But it wasn't. It was actually a dive school with a full dive shop.
And a bar.
It
was the strangest place I've ever got pissed.
It was bonkers. So they were selling flippers and snorkels and masks. You could go into the little room and they had a room where you could actually go and do your full basic paddy, including all they had a big tank in the back. You could go and do the bits and come away with your paddy certificate. But they also had, was it an IPA that was 8.5%?
14%.
14%. So we all had one of those.
Czech Republic is landlocked.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the lakes we found were only 4 foot deep, so I don't know and brown, so I don't know what they were doing with it. But so Sam decided we'd all have one of these 14% IPAs, and then we went on to the cooking lager, and Sam stayed with the IPA, and then you found
it was very
pear flavored.
I think it was absolutely fantastic how they managed to get a 14% beer to taste so good and be so easy drinking that I wanted to fully show my appreciation for what they'd done by having more than one of them. That's all.
And then the pear-flavoured Shilivovich was quite pleasant after that, apparently, wasn't it?
I believe so, yes.
Yes.
Right, well, I think we'd better stop there. Yeah. Jake, what's new in Suffolk?
So, a lot of things. If you've been following my socials, then you would have seen that I drove to France, caught the train back to England, grabbed my bike, cycled back to France to collect my car, to then drive immediately back home again, all for the enjoyment of cycling to France. You would have also seen that I ran the London 10K on Sunday, which was epic.
Well done, mate.
The landmark. So, cycled 200 miles, drove about 600 miles, I think it was, and just had a bit of fun. It wasn't for charity. It was just, I've always wanted to cycle to Paris from London, and it was epic. Really good guys went with the run Sunday. I love that community feel from a big event like a run in London. Haven't managed to get onto the London Marathon for the 17th time through the ballots. 1 year I'm going to get in, probably be when I'm in my 60s. But in Suffolk, Do you know what? I've had a really, really good story come through. Hugo Campbell Hill got hold of me and said, Jake, this chap's approached me. He's listened to the podcast and he likes my account and what have you. And he's interested in going out beating. Can you help? He's based in Suffolk. Full stop. Of course I can. Not a problem. Got hold of this chap. I'll keep his name quiet. And anyway, we've had a bit of communication, spoken to the local gamekeeper just outside Bury St Edmunds on a well-known traditional shoot. And he's going out for his first day next month. And I thought the power of this community was epic. So regardless of cycling to Paris because I wanted to, regardless of going for a 10K run because I fancied it, I just thought through this, what we're doing, and I know I bang on about this a lot, there's a chap who wanted to do it, listened to the podcast, got hold of Hugo, and he's going out beating for the first time. So we're going to follow his story on, boys.
Fantastic.
That's
mate.
fantastic.
Ideal.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so
Very good.
there we go. And George, what about you?
Well, not loads to report, although you'll recall last time we spoke, I was telling you that I had been commissioned to hatch some quail's eggs for my sister-in-law, and I can report that we have had a hatch.
Oh, well done.
Brilliant.
24 eggs were ordered. 2 were dropped between the box and the incubator by my daughter. So 22 were set. 14 hatched.
That's not bad.
A couple of days ago. A couple of didn't make it, but so we've got 12 little quail zooming about in a plastic box in the utility room at the moment.
That's fantastic.
Which is
mate.
very good fun. They are absolutely tiny.
Aren't they? They are so cute. They're like bumblebees, aren't they?
Yeah, you're prepared for them to be small, but nothing quite prepares you for just how tiny they are. And yeah, exactly right. Like sort of overgrown bumblebees.
And the thing that always fascinates me is that they're pretty much self-sufficient at that age, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean they were up and feeding for themselves within 24 hours. And the turn of speed is quite remarkable. Yeah, my daughter had a couple out and was hanging on to them, but they affected an escape, and rounding them up was not without its challenges.
So what's the next challenge then? You're becoming a bit of the incubator king now, aren't you?
Well, I've been thinking about it. Are you familiar? I've done small, so I feel like I'd like to go big. Are you familiar with the well? I don't think I'd fit one in the utility room.
True.
But are you familiar with the Great Bustard?
I am. There's some friends of ours farm, not far from you actually, that have sightings of great bustard. I think there's a project, isn't there? There
is. So there's a project to reintroduce them to the UK. They were here in the forever until the Victorians kind of did for them. And there is a reintroduction project on Salisbury Plain. Now, I suspect it's not going to come off because I suspect they've got quite rigid rules about who can hatch the eggs and where they can be released and all this sort of thing. But it might be something to work towards.
Definitely.
At some stage. But I've also received a very nice message from a listener after the last episode who said that in the spring he'll send me some grey partridge eggs. So I might put the incubator away until then.
Can your incubator take eggs of most sizes then?
Yeah, it's a sort of rotary one.
Yeah.
So to turn it, it's got a sort of cogwheel, and then you have different sized inserts for different sized eggs.
A bit like those,
so I
those motorway hot dog machines.
Just like that, exactly. So I could get probably. I reckon I could probably set 50 grey partridge eggs.
So, George, I remember you and your dad talking on a previous episode about the wild bird shoot that he remembers through the game books way back when. And his input into the release is going to be huge because he remembers where the English were set and what have you. Are you going to have to change what you're doing at home completely to accommodate the English, or are you just going to mix them in and let them kind of like how's it looking for next season?
Well, I think I have no real say. I don't have the power to change anything on the farm. It's not really my domain. So I think the idea would probably be to have a grey partridge release pen as close to the middle and as far away from all the footpaths and public as possible, and hope for the best. We do, I think, a reasonably good job on the habitat and predator front. So I think it would be a question of hoping for the best and seeing what happens, and then possibly try and learn from that. But I mean, it would be lovely.
I mean, crikey, even to just get a few pairs back would be
brilliant.
Would be wonderful.
Well,
wouldn't it?
My suspicion is they probably won't hang about very long. Certainly, once they've been shot at, they won't hang about. But if they make it that far, they may well think, actually, there's quite a lot of people around here, and go looking for more relaxing.
But then again,
quarters.
Georgie, even if they do, I mean, when I was a kid, we got involved with the Barn Owl Trust, and we had a breeding pair of barn owls, and I mean, we'd rear maybe half a dozen chicks a year. Some we just hacked back and released, and some were collected and taken to other areas. And we never knew if we were increasing the population directly around us or not, or whether we were just feeding into, in a way, it's almost, even if you're just replacing the ones that were lost to predation or hit by cars or whatever, it's another source of
doing something, isn't it?
Yeah, there's something going back into the numbers, and at least where you guys are, you're on the edge of the plains and down through Salisbury and Wiltshire. If they're going to go somewhere, it's not as if you're in the middle of Manchester and they've got absolutely nowhere to go. Just keep pumping them out, mate.
And you were, I mean, a few episodes back, you were saying you've had good progress with wild broods managing well. So your keeper and your farming practice is obviously doing good for that to happen. So you would hope that it's making a nice habitat for some greys to stick around.
I'd have thought so. And we do have them pass through every now and again. Yeah. Which is that's an encouraging thing as well. But listen, chaps, while we're talking about ambitions, that brings me quite nicely on to what I want to talk about today. We're recording on the 3rd of October. The pheasant season's begun. Jake, Avian, Sam, I think you've all been out. I've been out with the gun as well. But we are kind of properly into the season now. And so I want to talk about the next 4 months. I don't want to look backwards. I want to look forwards. So forgive me, because I'm about to go all management with a capital M on you. We should, I think, all persevere to grow and improve over time, to upskill, to optimise our individual performance trajectories, and proactively embrace transformative learning opportunities that amplify our personal and professional potential. As we all know, setting goals is the cornerstone of proactive engagement, a catalyst for measurable achievement, and a strategic enabler for aligning our individual growth trajectories with our overarching mission. So, gentlemen, I'm going to ask you all to lay out your shooting goals for the next quarter. Who am I going to start with? Avian.
Well, in the spirit it was said, George, I aim to bucketize my high-level learnings following a deep dive into the cross-pollination ideations in order to lay foundations of a cradle-to-grave push-and-pull strategy to sharpen the point of this pencil and ensure we're all singing off the same hymn sheet. Seriously.
Unscripted.
Wow.
I think it's, although it was said very wankily, I think it's a bloody good idea. I think too often we do look backwards, don't we? So looking forwards, this next quarter coming up, we've got some fantastic opportunity days in the diary. I'm really looking forward to it. Looking at my stock of cartridges, I am very close to using up the last of my lead and making the full move to steel. We've just today, in all this horrible rain and weather, put down 100 partridge for the first time ever on our bit of ground. So I'd love to, by the end of the season, be able to put one of our own homegrown partridge in the bag. We are working hard with the puppy we had off Kudu River Gun Dogs, thanks to Jake and Laura. So I try not to ruin that. I want to try some new drives I've got in my head and not just revert to type and do all the old ones. I want to make more videos. Well, making videos isn't the problem. It's editing them and having time to put them up. I definitely want to shoot more birds with the first barrel than the second barrel. And very lucky this year, I'd like to add one more castle shoot to the card. and to get on peg without leaving something in the car, and to get home after a day's shooting without leaving something in the hotel.
Yeah, I can
Okay.
tell you straight away, mate. Good luck with that. Ain't gonna
Aim
What,
high.
all of it, or all of
even
it, or just the?
one of them would be good.
With
How
your,
many days
with
are
your
you
move
out?
to steel, do you want to move to? Obviously, you want to move to steel for the remainder of the game season after you used up your lead. Do you then want to
Yep.
keep on steel for clays throughout the spring, summer, autumn?
I'd like to see how steel cartridges for clays come through. I have no issue with doing it whatsoever. I'd like to see how that runs out, but I think I will stick with standard steel because I spent a bit too much money on a lovely old Italian gun that isn't fleur-de-lis proofed. And to be perfectly honest, as you saw on the duck day, anything over 25 yards is a bit of a push anyway, so I don't really need super steel. But yeah, I'm more than happy with steel, and I think if that's the way clays go, I don't have an issue at all.
Yeah, good man.
I'm interested in the castle shoots. Can you tell us which castles you've ticked off?
Well, we've got Ripley Castle coming up.
Yeah.
And I was very lucky to be invited as a peg sharing guest on the first day of the season, although we only shot partridge, which picking between the partridge and the pheasant was a bit tricky, but that was an absolutely beautiful day down at Cahay's Castle.
Oh, wow. Yeah, very nice.
Very nice. So that's 2. So if anyone out there has got a castle, even if it's a White Castle burger, I'd turn up.
Christ, Dave, I was hoping yeah, absolutely shameless. I was hoping that someone might take pity on my 17th application to the London Marathon and throw me a lifeline, but you're on for a castle shoot day. I mean, good lad.
Well, why not,
And of course, I'm always interested in people trying partridge on their shoot for the first time. Would it be fair to say that your neck of the woods isn't typical partridge territory?
It's funny. I think it is, to be honest. I mean, we're just up the road. We're probably a few miles from Pentilly. Big partridge. Pheasant and partridge, but big partridge put down there. Because we're in that sort of dairy pasture rolling land, it's not quite what people perceive as the wooded valleys of the Cornish pheasant shoot. It's a little softer country, a bit more open to partridge. I mean, obviously, we had the Wills brothers used to run the massive partridge shoot Porton, about 20 minutes from here. Partridge do feature. I think we're going to give them a try. We've splashed out and bought an absolutely huge number of 100. So if we see one after today, I'll be delighted. But yeah, we're gonna give them a go.
Is it all grassland? Where your shoot is, or grass and woodland? Have you got any arable ground at all? Or
there's no arable ground in our boundaries. We've got a couple of small woodlands within the perimeter of the farm.
Yeah,
and it's lightly wooded on the outskirts. So we've got a lot of pasture land in the middle. And we've basically put 50 in one cover crop and 50 in the other. They're on either side of the farm. So we're going to give it a try.
Yeah, that sounds great. And the new drives, are they revolutionary, or is it simply pushing an existing drive in a slightly different direction or pegging the guns a bit differently? Or
they could be revolutionary if they work. I think because the shoot has been there since the 60s, it was, well, we always do it this way. We've got a new crew in. Last year, we didn't want to risk too much, so we changed direction on a few traditional drives. But this year, we want to, instead of pushing down a long wood, we want to do a very short drive across it. And whereas before we'd lose birds behind the parlour, well, we think, and this was inspired by Jake up at Branches, was actually we can probably do 5 or 6 mini drives rather than 3 or 4, 40-minute, hour-long drives trying to push 40 acres of woodland. Well, we can do a little bit of rough ground in the corner and maybe pop half a dozen birds and have a bit of fun. So, we're going to try that. Rather than push a whole block of wood at once, we might just push the covers on the edge one week and then on the next time do the rest of the wood. So we're going to try and mix it up. It could go disastrously wrong, and the risk there is that you just revert to type. But we're going to give it a go because I'm not a gun this year. I'm stood at the back taking all the flack and carrying the flasks and cake around. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, best of luck with it. I mean, my dad's always said that our shoot is an experiment that's been running for 60 odd years.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're always trying new things. And I think you do have to have the bravery to try it, because no 2 seasons are the same, no 2 days are the same. So what worked last time could well not work next time.
And I think the other thing,
unless-
George, that was probably the death knell of the syndicate we took on from, was it's very easy to forget how little time it takes for the ground to change dramatically. I think that you get into a habit, and this is possibly the risk of having name drives, is that, well, after lunch, we always shoot generals. It's like, but generals used to be a small plantation 10 years ago, and now it's 20-foot conifers, and it doesn't work the same. The birds won't go there. So, I totally agree with you, and certainly with your father. It's it's a continual experiment. The birds are wild; they'll go where they fancy, and you've almost got to be adaptable to where they are rather than where you want them to be.
Absolutely. Well, good luck with it all. Sam, what about you? What have you got? What's your biggest goal for this season, do you think?
I'd like to do more loading this season, so I'm going to piggyback on Avian's shameless plug for a castle shoot. And if you do invite him, make sure you tell him he needs to bring a loader and that he has to go past my place on the way.
Done. Happy with that. You're driving back though, Sam.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll charge you for it. Get out and see get out and see some more estates, different places. That's what I love about the loading. I did my Lantra coaching course. I'd like to push that a bit further and do the Basque one, which is a bit more in depth. I think it's a 3-day course rather than the single day, and just kind of expand on that a little bit. And also take more lessons myself. I've had a few lessons before, but I think that we probably all need to have more lessons than we actually do have. So, try and get out and take a few lessons myself. Like Avian, I got about 200 lead cartridges left, and then I'm on to steel. So make that switch over to steel, and possibly change guns. I got a couple that I don't use, which might get traded in, and then get something a little bit newer that will take high performance steel, because my Beretta doesn't carry the fleur-de-lis, although it's very vague, because if you ask Beretta, they say, it's a multi-choke gun, so that's fine for anything. But it also leaves you a little bit doubtful over whether it is or not. So I might be looking to upgrade, but I'm not going to promise that's going to happen in the next 4 months. I might stick with what I've got.
Well, I think you deserve a Christmas present, don't you?
Yeah,
probably.
If you were going to switch, have you got your eye on anything in particular?
I'd stick with Beretta, to be fair, and I'd probably go for a newer Silver Pigeon.
I can tell you those SL3s are lovely. I had one on trial last Christmas, and your mate just go for. Don't worry about the price tag. Just put the order in.
Yeah, I don't think my year's been that good.
I mean, what's the new one they've got out? Is it the new body, the 696? Is that right?
Oh, not sure, Ave. I'd have to go and look at that.
I think it is, isn't it?
I think it is, because I think there was one out when we were out on Wednesday. Bloody handsome gun. Looks really super.
Yeah.
Do you know the gun that I'm really has caught my eye and I'm looking at is a Browning 825.
Yeah.
I auditioned it at the shooting show back in February at the NEC. Chaps, I think that's worth a look. The 525 is synonymous, a bit like Silver Pigeon for Beretta, I guess.
Yeah.
If you were benching guns, I guess that would be. But the 825, it was, really give that a look as well, Sam. If you're going to, I know you're a Beretta man.
I am a Beretta man, and I keep on looking at, mainly Holtz auctions. And I did put a cheeky bid on. There was a pair of Silver Pigeons, which would have been nice. But I went in obviously too low because I don't have them, but and also struggling to go on shoots where I'd need a pair of guns and then I'd have to get a loader, which kind of defeats the object, because I was going to do that, but yeah, no,
that was one of the jakiest things I'd ever heard just a minute ago, when most of us would say, I saw this new gun and I had a go with it, but Jake auditions it.
Yes,
100% audition.
It's a very jakey thing.
The only thing I'd say is that all of these guns have got the barrels the wrong way round.
Oh,
and I think
get your hand off
you
it, Brown.
should get yourself a
In actual fact, it doesn't. I say I'm a Beretta man and I want to get another Beretta. I mean, when we arrived at the duck shoot, we were kind of handed these old Bakels and God knows what. That the action was a bit fucking sloppy on them and all that. And we actually shot quite well with them all, didn't we?
We did, and I'll tell you what, I had that. Was it an ATA?
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah,
And it was a sporter with raised comb and adjustable stock and all the rest of it. And I
the ATAs.
I shot better with that than I've done with anything else for a long, long time. And
I will lend you my ATA on Thursday. You are very, very welcome. Friday, sorry.
If you're right-handed, you had one of those. If you were left-handed, you had one of them. But you just kind of got a gun thrust at you. That's what you're shooting today. And they all seem to work.
We did all right.
Yeah.
Jakey, what are your plans?
Oh, my plans. Right, here we go. And I'm just going to get the list out.
Sit down, guys. Sit down.
It's a quarter's only 3 months. Just remember that.
Yeah, there we go. But it's a hell of a roller coaster that I've been on the last couple of years, and just building on professional relationships is there's some exciting opportunities coming up, both here and overseas, and I'm really enjoying my photography. I don't get it right. I take a lot of blurred pictures, but getting out a bit like you, Sam, with the loading, I found that taking photos gets you access into these shoots that you don't always get to go on,
places you wouldn't,
or I could afford to shoot on.
Yeah.
And so from that, that's really exciting. And so I'm looking forward to that. Unfortunately, the other thing I'm going to work on is River has developed a nasty case of the run-ins from Peg. She was out last week and she ran in twice. And you know what? It's really difficult for her. She is expected by me to one day be on Peg, the next day be picking up, and then the third day be at Branches on a walked up day.
Yeah.
And the picking up, she must remain absolutely still till the end, but hitting runners. On Peg, cannot move. And then out at Branches, as soon as something's downed, retrieve.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to, when you've got a Swiss Army dog, so to speak, then it's not easy. But you know what? It is rewarding when it goes right. An Echo is one, so I know River can do it, and everything like that. So there we've got those. But chaps, Toby is going to get his first game day.
Excellent.
And when I say game day, he's going to get an opportunity to shoot a drive. But he shot a pigeon in the summer, as we all know, as I spoke about. My eldest son, Joe, shot his first bird last year. And so Toby will be invited at some point to stand with me on a drive with his little Koff 28 bore. And I'm going to allow him to he's been getting some lessons from good friend at England clay shot, Ed Murrell. And from that, let's see what happens. So I'll take it on from there. And then finally, chaps, it's sharing more game meat with people. I've developed this little thing at Toby's rugby club where the parents insist that I don't turn up without A, my camera, and B, sausage rolls with but it's like a bit of a dealer. I turn up there. I took a batch in the end of last season, and on the first day back a couple of weeks ago, they're like, you better have some game sausage rolls there, Jake, otherwise your son's not allowed back in the team. I said, I can always go to Ely if you want. And then, no, come back. Just bring some sausage rolls next time. So, I'm going to encourage more people to eat game as well. So that's another one.
I think that's one that everybody could.
I was going to say, I think that's a good idea
Definitely.
for all of us.
Definitely.
Yeah. But I mean, incredibly exciting for Toby this year, and
Wonderful.
excited for
Yes.
you. I look forward to hearing about the success on that one in particular.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sure he's
that's
going to
gonna be
shoot more
great.
than 4 on his first drive as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Move on. It's old, it's boring.
It's
Let's
not.
move on.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, mate.
Wonderful.
George, before these two just get boring, George, what are your ambitions and goals for this shooting season?
Well, I have got the same goal main goal as I've had for the last, how old am I now? Let's call it 30 years, which is to shoot a left and right of partridge at home.
Yeah.
I have had a few opportunities over the year and have inevitably fluffed them all. Being a small shoot, they are few and far between the opportunities, but I'm hopeful that this year might be the year. And then I also have another opportunity this year, which is to wipe Chris Horn's eye at the podcast shoot day, or failing that, one of you three.
I was going to say, as the introduction to game meat should be a challenge for all of us, I think that also should be a challenge for all of us.
Bit of sporting poaching. I think you've probably got more of a chance of wiping our eyes shooting something behind us we've missed than Chris, to be perfectly honest. So if you want to build up to it.
well, between the four of us and Chris, we've got a few days in the field as a 5. We've got December. I think we're out again in January as well. So there's opportunity here, George.
There's
to
plenty
really,
of opportunity.
This is going to be good fun. I think on the podcast shoot day, which is at Mount Garrett, I cannot wait. I'm photographing you boys, so you won't be able to wipe my eye that day, George. But I really hope that we can peg you 4 together.
Oh, shit.
And then just see the fun.
Poacher's Abbey, won't it?
In fact, I am going to make that a thing. That is happening. You know, that whoever picks 4 will also, one of you will pick 5. And I can. It's going to be great, George. That's awesome.
What you're going to have to do, George, is get down the playground, get a slab of 7.5s, and get them to just push those long crosses at you.
Yeah.
All day long, just so when it goes over Chris's head, you can just tidy it up behind him at about 60 yards and have him turn around and thank you for taking that bird with the leg down.
You know, he will listen to this, and it's guaranteed the next episode he's on in 2 weeks' time is going to be electric. Bring it on,
sound
Chris.
like the gauntlet's gone down, doesn't it?
Oh, it does.
Has, yeah.
Oh, fair play.
Yeah.
Love that camaraderie.
Brilliant.
Good. Well, I tell you what, last time out we asked for people to share their dream teams. I'd love if you've got like a really good goal for yourself for the season and you're listening to this, do send it in pod@gunsonpegs.com, because I think it's something we should all do more, really, just to at the beginning of the season think, what would I like to achieve? Or what do I want to do? I think it's a good thing to start out the season with. Gives a bit of focus. So that's good. I'll check back on everybody's achievements in February, and I look forward to hearing all the excuses. I think it's going to be fun.
I think it's important to work harder on the achievements and the excuses, chaps.
Well, I'm going to start thinking about my excuses now. Right. So with all of that, it's time for a Grand's Day Out. Now, I've been on to Gemma for her recommendations, and she pointed me in the direction of Hawarden Sporting. I think I'm saying that right, which is in Flintshire. This day in particular is on the 8th of November. There's 8 pegs left in a 10-gun line. It's a 120 bird day, and the pegs are £500 each.
Crikey, that's good.
Which feels like a bargain, doesn't it? They've got a few other days at $850. I'm not quite sure why this one is that much cheaper, but there's lots of availability there.
Does it have a castle or not?
I don't have 500 quid. It's all gold, I'm afraid.
I had a quick look at some of the pictures. It's very pretty looking. North Wales, Cheshire borders.
Yeah, Cheshire's splendid.
Yeah. And it's a traditional family-run shoot, sort of no pressure, sort of a day, parkland and woodland drives. It just looks like a really lovely opportunity. Looks really, really enjoyable.
That looks absolutely brilliant, doesn't it?
Yeah, that does look.
Yeah. It's good to see they're encouraging new people to game shooting. Obviously very open to youngsters shooting with them or people who haven't done it before. I mean, that sounds like a pretty good opportunity for Toby if he does well on his first, for Jake to treat him again. I mean, it's nearly Christmas, Jake.
Yeah.
Tumbleweed right now, Avian. Tumbleweed. Honestly,
his internet dropped out for a minute then.
Yeah, luckily, this boy will not hear.
Don't tell me he's getting another Satsuma and a piece of coal.
No, far from it. No. Do you know what? So funny enough, his birthday is actually, his birthday is coming up very, very soon. And also, his demands for birthday and said Christmas are incredibly high. Game shooting isn't on the birthday list, and he is just about to walk in. So my family are just coming in. There will be dogs barking.
Then you have a little red light outside that says you're recording.
Yes, I do, and also the family calendar as well. And but it's the team are just walking in now, so we'll also get transcript from Florence as well. So I now can't carry that on because said 9, almost 10-year-old has just walked in and birthday lists and what have you. So to BC. But there we go. That's a shame.
Well, I think that seems like an apt moment for us to wrap it up before you get yourself in any trouble or give away any secrets.
Yeah.
Quite right.
So, before we go, all that remains for me to say is that there's a final reminder that you can get your hands on a pair of the very exclusive Guns on Pegs podcast shooting sock garters by sending us a shooting dilemma, sharing your unpopular opinions, letting us know about forgotten drives or your podcast suggestions, sharing your dream teams or your goals for Q3. Drop us an email to pod@gunsonpegs.com, and if we read it out in the next episode or any future episodes, we will send you some garters. Don't forget your challenge Avians as well. I'm looking forward to a cider update. It must be about time.
I have a very quick update. I've got my first batch of juice ready to go in the fermenter, and I've just messaged Digby to see if we can get a day to go down to Hayward Cider Farm. Tom's going to take us out, show us the apples, and we'll start pressing hopefully sometime this month. So next time we speak, chaps, I'll either have 50 litres of inedible floor polish remover, or we might be onto something.
And quickly, a rat or a badger?
Well, I think I think the way George is going, we might get him to, I don't know, hatch us a ptarmigan.
I think rat or badger might be a question for all future podcast guests. No context. Right, that's your lot. Do please keep sending in your follow-up thoughts. Chris and I are going to be back in a couple of weeks' time. But for now, thanks very much for listening, and goodbye.
Wow.